It have man out there who marrying man, and the system working against the almighty plan. Well, listen, brothers and sisters, why they harassing these straight fellas? Oh my gosh, they have the place in a mess. But the macho men say it's time to protest. This one-sided society is what destroying our country. What they pressuring we so far, they should legislate this law. Stop the confusion, man have to marry more than one woman. We want more wives, we need more wives, we want more wives, so we could end this economic strife. We want more wives, we need more wives, we want more wives, so children from different mothers could live nice. Let me be straight and very frank. Wife one handling issues by the bank. If number 2 is unavailable, number 3 have to put food on the table, just in case she feeling sick and she cannot do it. No problem. Number 4 gonna give it to us for sure. We want more wife, we protesting. We want more wife, because this present system is what mashing up everything. When I tell them I'm going to sing this song, my telephone start ringing all day long. Though your wife know you singing this, keep out of me and my wife business. Because when the popes, Benedicts and them go off track and penetrate them little boys in church from the back, I don't hear much about that at all. I find all your churches hypocritical, saying, who can let them be? But I forgot the next woman you want to kill me.
Welcome to the Late Night Show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host, Andrew Dick. I'm here. I was sick for the past days. I know you don't care. You just want your late night. But, you know, Dick do get sick, you know. You get it? Anyway, my jokes will be very, very, very bad because I'm a sick Dick, okay? Sorry. That's just how it is. All right, what's happening on the lovely island of St. Martin? We have to catch up. We have to pay catch up. Of course, the lovely members of parliament are in the Netherlands. They are getting ready to take part in IPKO. 9 members of the delegation of St. Martin are in the Netherlands, spending quality time with, of course, members of the delegations of Aruba, Curacao, and the Netherlands. You know, they are also spending our taxpayers' money with the per diem and the wonderful first-class tickets that they took to the Netherlands. But it's important that they go because they need to go there and beg on behalf of St. Martin, since we can't pay back the loans that we took from them since we had the pandemic. Remember the pandemic? We got monies when the country was closed. Time is coming up that we need to pay them back. The Dutch say, listen, you need to fix the Enya situation before we even give you anything. Extension or any type of refinancing, so don't come with no sad stories. So they're there, and of course you can see. Did you just see that most of the independent MPs are, what you call it? They're on their phone, I think they play in Monopoly Go. Look, Chris. I think Melissa playing Monopoly. It's a game that's sweeping all over the internet. I don't have it. I don't like it. No. In any case, you see that the delegation leader, the tallest member of parliament, is also, being there. He's the head beggar for St. Martin. So let's hope that he is successful with the IPKO talks, and let's see how it goes. Of course, we'll bring you the updates as it goes. All right. What else? The Council of Ministers press briefing. I gotta take it easy. No, of course, the resurfacing of the Union Road is on everybody's mind because it's a rocky ride. I took a ride today, and as you can see, it's rocky. It's not nice feeling when you're driving through Colby, but you have to go through it. The government will not be reimbursing your tires, if anything, but at least, hey, it's going to be worked on. Now, according to a press release yesterday by Winwood Roads, they said that they had a certain product that didn't come in time, but it's here now. So therefore, we're going to start June 1st, which is tomorrow. The Minister of VROMI, Egbert Duran, explained it during the Council of Ministers press briefing. How he had to start his whole statement was, you see, what happened was, because how the hell are you going to resurface the road without having the product in stock beforehand? That's like making chicken soup without the chicken. That's like saying, you know what, you're going to go and make a sandwich, but you don't have any bread. Like, I just don't understand the logic and the excuse of, and the product, it was the wrong product, so we had to change it this is what the minister said during the press briefing.
As I previously mentioned, we're experiencing some delays with the Union Road. I know a lot of people use this road, and quite a few have drawn their own conclusions as to why. I do believe that the contractor, Winwood Roads, issued a statement outlining what took place. Due to unforeseen circumstances with the receiving of raw material for the asphalt production from abroad, and due to technical problems with the production and the shipment, the raw materials was not received on time. It was just the reality of the logistics. Sometimes things happen that are totally out of our control. No one could foresee that after struggling to get the material and having it en route, the ship would develop technical issues that caused the delay. I have personally spoken to the contractor and can say that on Thursday, June 1st, will be the beginning of the preparatory work, and shortly after they will be applying the asphalt layer to the road. I want to assure the people of St. Martin that Union Road will be resurfaced. We apologize for any inconvenience that this may have caused and the fact that it is taking so long. And again, I would like to urge everyone to please take caution when using this road.
Now, of course, the question and answer session of the press briefing is one of my favorites because that's where we get to drill the ministers. I wasn't there because clearly, I'm still sick. But my colleagues represented, I must say, my colleagues represented to the core. So I'm going to bring you the question and answer sessions. It was kind of harsh. And of course, the Prime Minister, I don't understand this Prime Minister, The elections is in about 6 months from now, and she still doesn't know what day the election is going to be on. The election's supposed to go to 17, or we're supposed to stay to 15 seats, or we're supposed to go to 17, and up to now, she does not know. I mean, anyway, this is the highlights of the question and answer session of the Council of Ministers press briefing. It was good. It was really good. You got a lot of information. And yeah, take a look.
My question is to the Minister of Justice. Minister Richardson, the pilot project that is currently taking place for undocumented to regulate their documents. In October 2022, a press release was sent from your office, from your ministry, outlining that there are three ministries that came together. You spoke about it right here in this press briefing, which is TIAT, VSA, and Justice. In that press release, there's a number of criteria and all that is required to be able to qualify, including the exemption letters. I've received a number of complaints, Minister, of people who have requested exemption. They have not received a response. Just on Monday, the pilot project team here at the building have been rejecting applications citing that that press release has inaccurate information. This is more than once this has happened. Some people have taken their case to lawyers and then their files are accepted. Can you explain us what exactly is the criteria and what is the bureaucracy that, people coming to the building to submit their files and then it is rejected?
So thank you very much for your question. First off, the fact that you are stating that people are coming to the building, you mean the individual is coming to the building?
Whoever is submitting the request for the
because it has to be companies that is submitting,
Yes.
and we have to ensure that all the documents that are required, such as your proof of your business, the registration, your taxes, all of these things are in order to submit. Oftentimes, when the story is given, it's very one-sided and it's lacking a lot of content of what's really happening. And then when you go and research it, then the individuals retract. But on a public platform such as this, your delivery is very strong. You sound very confident on behalf of whomever has spoken to you. However, the aspect of persons not receiving responses, they might not have received the response they want, because we have individuals as well that is seeking for the exemption letters that don't qualify, and so that they're advised not to. Another thing that we've come to realize is that we've had to make an adjustment to exemption letters because individuals have requested it on the presumption that their boss is going to apply for them, but then they're using the document to fly in and out of St. Martin, which is not the premise of it. So we have encountered a lot of aspects where individuals are misusing the opportunities as well. And so there's a tightening down on that. The requirements is a whole list that starts with VSA's requirements. So if it is a case that you have to show proof about your business as well as proof as to how long this individual has been employed with you, and you're not providing that, then, I would have to know about the specific cases you're saying that was taken to legal minds or a legal representation. I have not received any information about that. If you have the information, you'd like to share it with me, I'd like to do the research on it. But I say all that I have to be able to caution you that there are a lot of scenarios that are coming out of the best intentions with this pilot project, and not always do you receive accurate information. I've been told by individuals, I submitted my documents. I was on the airport the other day welcoming Mr. Hall in. Gentleman approached me, spoke about submitting all of his documents. When we checked, no, the only document that was submitted was a request for an exemption letter. But they are under the presumption that they've submitted everything. So we have to be kind of cautious as to when we are so immediately in the belief that everything is submitted and the department is not doing right by. Yeah. But if you would like, I would welcome you sharing the information with me, and I'd like to do more research. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Richardson. Minister Samuel.
Prime Minister, my question is for you. Tomorrow will be 6 months closer to election, and we still don't have a date. I would like to ask, when will the Council of Ministers make a decision on an affirmative date for election? And is there any final indication as to whether we will remain within the 15 parliamentary seats or whether we will go up to 17? And I guess this also comes with an update on the cleanup of the census office. Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, Judy, you'll have to hold on just another bit for that information. I have not been able to sit with the relevant stakeholders within the organization to hash all of that out. There's usually a whole calculation for dates based on the last time, etc. And I have not had the opportunity to do that yet. So I do apologize for that because it was asked, I believe, last week. But I have not been able to schedule that in. The schedule has been quite bad. I know I did say it was January. They want a specific date. So the specific date in January 2024 is not yet known. but it is January 2024, and I will endeavor to ensure that I have a more concrete answer for you as well. I did mention last week that as the civil registry does its cleanup, it's a different number. So June now will be now the end of the second quarter. So at the end of June is when I will then determine what are the projections moving forward so that we can have a better idea.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Judy. Jacqueline Hoffman of the Daily Herald, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, ministers. My question is for the Minister of Justice. Recently, the Prosecutor's Office presented its year report 2022. The prosecutor stated that it had been a successful year. This begs the question, who other than the prosecutors itself determines the quality of the work of the prosecution? A lot of time and resources have been spent on small cases, while, for instance, the fraudulent actions against a lot of investors, hundreds of investors on this island, have not been investigated. These were referred to the civil court, with the civil judge saying this is a Ponzi scheme that, in the carbon case, that severely damages the image of this island. There's also money laundering involved, so the question is, why is the prosecutor not prosecuting this or investigating? The prosecutor office doesn't investigate environmental crimes, with exception of the KB oil spill in 2021, but we never heard anything of that anymore. You started an anti-counterfeit campaign. The prosecutor is not involved. All confiscations have been based on civil law, which means that there cannot be fines be issued. And also the importers of these fake goods are not investigated. There's a lot of cases, like, for instance, the investigation into the death of Lance Thomas, that we have had no results about. So I wanted to ask you if you share the opinion that it has been a successful year.
Thank you for your question. So I'm going to try to address, I'm going to start first with the fact that there are several, or at least there's a platform, which is the Law Enforcement Council, that basically does the reviews of the Ministry of Justice and the various agencies, and they are the ones that does a measure to know whether or not our agencies are functioning the way that they should, and those reports are publicly published, okay? So I think that your question being on this public platform is one that will be taken up with it. But I want to address your mention that the Public Prosecutor's Office is not involved in counterfeit combating of, and you are incorrect. As a matter of fact, there are several court cases that are ongoing where the public prosecutor is directly involved, and those records are pretty much public, so you can find information on those. There was another one you asked about the environmental aspect of it. We would have to look at the laws to see exactly how that is handled. But for the most part, I believe that the measure of whether the prosecution service is doing a good job or not lies with the observation of our law, the Law Enforcement Council. They would be the ones to be able to measure that. Of course, the minister can't do that as well. But there was another aspect that I wanted to address from what you stated that was also incorrect. But you said a lot, so I can't remember all of it. Another one was Mr. Thomas. You're incorrect there as well. And I did give quite an advice on that the public prosecutor came to a conclusion that the family was notified by the public prosecutor's office. If you wish to be able to get any information specific about that, then I would suggest that you either contact the public prosecutor, or if you are so willing to go to the family, totally up to you, but the family has that information.
Thank you, Minister Richardson. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Question is to the Minister of Romy. Minister, I believe last week you traveled overseas with NVGEBE to attend the Carolec. Can you give us the outcome of that meeting? And tomorrow begins the beginning of this year's hurricane season. Minister, can you tell us how prepared are we? Has the trench cleaning contracts been issued? Can you tell us if the pumps are working? And, you know, if we are prepared to handle this season?
Thank you. Thank you, Bibi. I was going to mention about Carolec. However, I'm still awaiting some final notes with GB to bring that forward, which will be forthcoming within the coming days. However, it was a very inspiring work trip. However, one of the things I always say is sometimes when we see how advanced other countries are, it's a bit disappointing on my end personally. It also motivates me to want to thrive to reach to that next level. We had the opportunity to visit the SEPAM power plant in Punta Cana, and that is a very advanced a setup in the sense of they have different options for renewables and different things. I mean, I was even jokingly mentioned to the acting manager of GB that it's almost somewhere where you will want to hang out, to have a party. It's so clean and so efficient, and all the processes are automated. Aruba have a working agreement with CIPEM in terms of the assistance with their plant. And the week prior to us visiting, there was a whole team from their power plant there doing training. So I did discuss with GB for us to explore this option. We had the preliminary discussion, hence the reason when I wanted to present, I want to present holistically and give back some of the key takeaways. Besides that, we had different discussions on how we're gonna go as the Caribbean islands towards renewable. We got different information on best practices, also what has worked and what hasn't worked. And I must say that one of my colleagues on the NA list mentioned that we are too far in front to be so far behind. And I think that we should use this as motivation to get to that next level where we want to be when it comes to energy production and efficiency. The Prime Minister had recently visited Aruba and on the different ways on how we want to move towards renewable. And all these different initiatives tie into each other. We know that lack of manpower is one of our major constraints that we have. However, platforms like Carolec and the MOU and the different things that we signed within the last couple of years are ways and means for us to work together. We are members of these organizations and basically feed off each other to move to that next level. So that's on that point. With respect to the trenches, I mentioned a whole long paragraph about the trenches, but I think that you skipped that completely because I did mention it in my opening remarks that we are busy now assessing and going to clean the trenches. There's never been a time where St. Martin flood because the trenches wasn't in order. That is something that I put a lot of focus on, a lot of energy on the department as well. When there's too much water, they open the floodgates, they do what they have to do. I know that online there's a lot of technical experts that master all the things that should and shouldn't be done. However, I want to say that I have full confidence in the men and women that work within the infrastructure management department. They have been doing this for years, some of them even before I was born. So I have to lean and trust on their understanding that they know what they are doing when they are doing. No one is perfect. No one can predict weather to the full extreme to how far we can be affected. However, all of the trenches and everything will be cleaned, and we will be ready for whatever we may be faced. With respect to the pumps, we know that over the years we have some major challenges with the pumps. We are busy now with the Dutch government negotiating to get new pumps. We have a whole working group ironing out the technical details of those pumps. So that is well on its way, but the pumps are functioning, not optimally, but they are functioning. So we are ready, and I hope that we're not faced with a storm. However, if we are faced with a storm, we will do what we have to do.
Thank you, Minister Duran. Thank you, Bibi. Judy, you have the floor.
Thank you. Prime Minister, my question is for you, and it has to do with the whole Enya matter. I know you did indicate to me yesterday that discussions were currently in process, but I would like to ask, since this whole issue is tied to our liquidity support, since St. Martin does not have funds to even pay its liquidity, repay these loans at this current moment, would we have money to save Enya? And because obviously a solution would involve funds, because hundreds of thousands of dollars would be needed to save this company. And more importantly, should taxpayers' money be used to save Enya? The CBCS president, Mr. Dornbosch, had asked that a solution be sought by June 30th. Do you foresee us meeting this deadline, Prime Minister? Thank you.
Minister Daron?
Yes, PM reminded me that Bibi did ask a question about the status of the contracts, which I overlooked with my notes. With regards to the contracts I mentioned, I think it was a month and a half ago that we got a kind of conflicting advice, one from legal and one from an auditing perspective. So based on that, I highly foresee that we will have to retender that entire bid for the trenching cleanup.
Then, Minister, can you give me the legal basis for retendering?
The legal basis for retendering is as principal, you can always retender. That is the legal basis. And as I mentioned, we got two advices, one from an auditing perspective and one from a legal. And me personally, I would always lean towards the legal based on the fact that if anything would come out, it would have to be a court case. So the 9 out of 10, we will be leaning towards retendering. However, I want to reassure the general public the trenches will be maintained and everyone will be safe with respect to the trenches and potential flooding.
Prime Minister Jacobs?
I'll pass the floor to the Minister of Finance to elaborate on the discussion. I did submit some responses to Judy on these questions. Indeed, we are still in the discussion process, but I will allow the Minister of Finance to take the lead on this answer.
So I didn't get all the questions, but from the ones that I do remember, in regards to the comment was made in regards to paying off the loans, that we don't have money to pay off the loans. I think that I would like to put a comment in the right context. The agreement we had with the Netherlands at that time for the COVID loans was a balloon payment in October. So of course we don't have the money to pay back the loan in one shot. That's 360 million guilders, obviously. So we're in discussions now in terms of how to pay back the loans. That's a different discussion. In regards to the Enya situation, it's unfortunate, and there's about 3,000 persons that potentially can be affected, potentially couldn't be affected, I'm being very clear on that, on St. Martin. So we represent about between 10 and 15%. And that risk starts potentially in 2025. So it's not as a risk of tomorrow. That risk potentially starts in 2025. So the request of the State Secretary of the Netherlands is that we start to look for a solution in case of having to now go and get extra funds from them and so forth. I had a meeting yesterday with the Minister of Finance, Curaçao, and his staff, and so we are discussing, because we do share the central bank. We also have been in discussions with the central bank also as a responsible stakeholder. And we have until June 30th to come up with this solution. I think we are progressing pretty well. We have to, obviously, we are working multiple trajectories at the same time. We're dealing with the loans itself, the refinancing, and now also have to deal with our position with the stakeholders of Enya, which is, again, 10 to 50%, which represents about between 100 to 150 million guilders. Anything else?
Just a quick clarity, the 3,000 persons, those are in St. Martin, those are St. Martin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So out of the 30-something thousand, we represent 10 to 15% of that, which is then between 3,000 and change persons.
And do you think that taxpayers' money should be used to save Enya, though?
So I wouldn't say it's taxpayers' money saving Enya. Enya itself is going through a process. So the central bank and the governments of Curaçao and St. Martin, we are in the process of trying to get the funds back. All right, so it's not the saving Enya. The court cases with Ansari, the season of Malabé, the whole process, all of that is trying to get the assets that's due to these pensioners. All right, so between the three entities, we are in the process of trying to take claim on the assets that belong to Enya. In the meantime, we do have these individuals that, not due to any of their fault, that will become affected due to this process. And that's what I'm saying. It's a potential risk in 2025 because there are things that could happen. There's a potential sale of Malabé in the future, right? Which then goes to the countries that could then also be allocated towards this. So there's different things that happen because If the claim at Ansari happens before that, then, because again, the claim is to get the money back to be able to fill this deficit that was created by him. So, in the meantime, though, as a government, we are responsible and we have to take care of the people. So if everything that we do in government is actually taxpayers' money, subsidies, sport, everything we do is taxpayers' money. We took 360 million on loans. We took all the COVID loans. We took on our responsibility for the SRP, right, to have businesses survive, right? So at that point in time, it wasn't a question on should we use taxpayers' money, because we took the loan with no payback terms for any company in St. Martin or any individual in St. Martin. So the process we are going through now, the refinancing process we're going through now, was because we want to make sure that our people were in good standing. And again, that's now coming back to taxpayers' money at some point in time.
Okay, so what did we learn? That the ministers are getting more touchy and touchy while elections is coming. Listen, please remember these attitudes from these ministers, because I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. And you know, the minister of nothing, Minister Samuel, he gave an update that said absolutely nothing. You don't believe me? This is what he said during his opening speech. It was the funniest thing ever.
The first one I would like to indicate is that the repairs regarding the Martin Luther King School in Dutch Quarter is progressing well, and it's on schedule, and let's hope that it will all go be ready for when school is open. Then we have a topic that is taking a very long time. That is the final payments or the balance of payments for the teachers from the National Summer School Program. The documents were sent again for approval, and just before coming to press briefing, I wanted to have the latest update. I were indicated that there are some minor adjustments and additional information that will be requested. In regards to the topic from NEPA, because you know we were also busy with some situations with NEPA. I am in communication with NEPA, and I have written them, and I am waiting the response to my communication. I would like to also inform that we know that we have had the FPE exams for the primary schools, which 494 students sat exams, and we are busy with analyzing the results of this exam. We also have the laptops and the panel boards that were ordered for, not the panel boards for the public schools, and the distribution of the laptops that began last week. And we had a very nice presentation in regards to that project. I would like to congratulate the persons who went to Nevis last week in drag race motorsports, where I think 2 of the teams did well and came home with trophies. We also have had on the agenda the Students of Excellent Academy, and I would like to indicate that that process is also ongoing. I will be visiting the students today, and the social worker who will take care of the intake is also being hired and finalized. And then I would like to invite the public of St. Martin on June 10th from 4 to 6 on the boardwalk, where we will be inaugurating a very special project that we have on the boardwalk, and it has to do with exercise equipment and volleyball and bocce games. And I would like all the public to come out and attend the opening of this project. Thank you.
So the laptops are being distributed, but they're still being distributed. Martin Luther King School is almost finished, but it's busy being worked on. But it's busy, but it's worked on, but we still remember it's there. And the payment for the summer program that we owe the teachers for since last year, we're going to pay them because it has to be signed, but it's not signed. It's almost as if as the Minister of Justice gave them a piece of paper to read from, because it's the same thing for the Justice services workers, yes, we have the function book ready, but it still has to get the signature from the governor, but it's ready, but it has to get the signature. But in the meantime, here is some money, but it still has to get the signature, but then it's going to be completed, but it's almost completed, but it's completed. Vote for me. We are one. In a nutshell. Welcome to the Late Night Show. Let's begin. We have a good one for you.
Make the switch. Get faster internet for less.
At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport.